Hi, this is Mr. Evans. This video is going to very quickly summarise the topic on human resources for AQA GCSE. So human resources is assessed in paper 1. Human resources is basically ensuring that an organisation manages its people, the labour input, in order to achieve its objectives. First things that the business needs to do is recruit the right people. Recruitment is identifying a job vacancy and finding the best candidate to perform the role. There's a recruitment process that starts off with a job analysis where you look at what this job is going to involve. You conduct a thorough analysis of the tasks that are going to be involved in it and so on. From that, you write a job description and a job person specification, and then you go and advertise the job role. After that, you get applications in and you select the best candidate, maybe through some tests. Candidates might come from inside the organisation, and that is called internal recruitment. That has basically the advantage of lower recruitment costs because you don't need to advertise, plus you already know the person. However, that does reduce the amount of talent available because you're restricting yourself to people who already work for the company. And could lead to potential friction between the candidates if someone doesn't get the job. External recruitment increases the amount of talent available because you're advertising the job to loads of people, both potentially both inside but external outside the company. It can lead to new ideas. People bring new ideas if you recruit them externally, but it makes recruitment a little bit more difficult because you don't know the people and maybe you appoint the wrong person. So what are the benefits of having a good recruitment process? Basically, you're going to get better workforce, better quality, higher motivated staff, and you should be able to retain your staff longer because that you're putting the right people in the right jobs. Once you've got the right staff on board, you then need to organise them, and you might organise them using an organisational chart like this that shows the different levels in an organisation, from the HR people at the bottom, the HR director, and then the managing director at the top, although this is a very simple organisational structure. Tool structures have got lots and lots of layers, so this only has 3 layers, but a tool structure might have 10 or 15 even layers, like the army, and narrow spans of control. What that means is each manager doesn't look after many people. So the advantages of a tool structure is there's lots of promotional opportunities, there's more management oversight, but you've got increased costs because you've got to pay people for all these different layers you've got in the hierarchy, and your workers may well feel watched by the managers. In terms of narrow structures, well, these are quite useful when your employees are already experts and don't need looking after, because managers need to delegate more work, which should lead to responsibility and motivation, not to employee freedom and therefore good creativity. But it could be more stressful for the employees because each manager in a narrow structure is in charge of a lot of people. In other words, there's a wide span of control. Then employees are expected to solve their own problems, whereas in a tool structure you can get a lot of management support. The other thing about narrow structures, a good thing, is that the people making the decisions at the top of the organisation are quite close to those people at the bottom, whereas in a tool structure, because there's lots of layers, the strategic decision makers might be a long way from the customers. So delegation occurs when someone above you in the hierarchy gives you a job to do. Delayering is a common way that businesses use to save costs, where you take out a layer of management organisation. All right, so you move from a tool to a narrow hierarchy. Centralised organisations have all of their decisions made by the directors at the top of the company. And junior managers further down in the organisation are not given much freedom. Decentralisation is where you let people lower down in the hierarchy make strategic decisions. So that will improve their motivation. But it might lead to a situation where a junior manager in one area is taking a decision that's not being taken in another area. So it can lead to a lack of consistency across the organisation. Motivation is very, very important for your staff. Once you've recruited them, got them all organised in the correct place, you need to motivate them. What are the benefits of having a highly motivated workforce? Well, there's lots of benefits, but basically people are going to be happier and perform better. So businesses use a variety of ways of motivating their staff. I would argue that salary and wage is just a way of paying your staff, and whilst it might have an effect on motivation, it's not really a motivational method. Commission is where you give salespeople a share of the sales. that they do. So if they're on 10% commission, if they make £10,000 worth of shares, that's 5 minutes, they'll get £1,000 commission. Profit sharing is where all of the employees in an organisation get to share the profit. Non-financial methods of motivation include the style of management you use, where you give employees responsibility or not, where you train your staff. When you give staff greater responsibility, like decision-making powers by job enrichment, or you can give your workers fringe benefits like gym memberships or a company car, etc. They're considered non-financial methods of motivating. Final topic is training. Training involves educating people to improve their job performance. The benefits of training the workforce, again, basically, you're likely to improve the quality of your workforce. If you train them more, they're going to be more skilled, they'll be more motivated, and they're going to perform better. Induction training is provided to new employees to help them settle in. Most organisations will have an induction training day, just like you might have an induction day at your college. On-the-job training is where you train people in their day job. So, for example, if you've ever been into Tesco and there's someone new on the tills and they've got someone watching them behind them, advising them how to use the till and so on, that's on-the-job training, which is good because it's specific to the organisation's needs and it's delivered by people within the business. But there's an opportunity cost to the business. If you've got someone sat behind everyone on a till, that person who stood behind them isn't actually being terribly productive for Tesco. Whereas off-the-job training is where you send people away from the workplace, maybe to a university, for example, to get some specialist training. It's good because it's delivered by experts. It could lead to qualifications like maybe an accounting degree, which improves motivation of employees. However, the instruction might not be actually specific to the requirements of an individual firm. It can be very expensive to send your workers off to do an off-site placement, and people aren't very productive while they're doing off-the-job training, and that's human resource management.